I'd like to introduce to you Fidelma O'Kane from Save Our Sperrins. And it is my great pleasure to introduce her and to highlight, as Tony put it when she spoke earlier, to highlight the human and ecological abuses associated with gold mining in County Tyrone. Fidelma is a member of Save Our Sperrins, a grassroots environmental group established in 2015 to raise awareness about the dangers of a proposed gold mine and processing plant in the Sperrins area, an area of outstanding natural beauty. The planning application by a Canadian gold mining company is now to be the subject of a public inquiry following an unprecedented number of objections. Apparently, there are over 44,600 objections. Fidelma, I'll ask you to tell the story. You can do it much better than I can. Fidelma, you have the floor.
Thank you, Brian. Share screen. Okay, good. No, just start sharing the screen. Okay. No, you're in the wrong thing. Here. As my assistant isn't up to the job. Here.
That's okay. The message is coming loud and clear. We're sure.
Sorry, Brian.
That's not a problem. Take your time. Take your time.
Sleeping on the job there.
That's okay. Well, we'll also say too that if people have a question based on what you have said or on what has come up at any point, that they can pop it in the chat and we'll deal with them, time allowing, at the end. Over to you, Fidelma. Thanks again.
Okay. Yes, I don't know where he went. I'm really sorry. I don't know what's happened here. There's your screen. Okay. Yeah,
we actually can see your screen there. You just need to go up to the first slide and set your show. We can. You are sharing screen. So if you just click slideshow, we should be able to see it.
We don't have it in our. Go back again. Sorry, we don't have it in ours in our computer here.
You can't see it, can you not?
No, we can't see it. No.
Okay, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to share it from here. You tell me when you want to stop. So I'm going to stop you sharing there. So I'm going to pause your share. Have you got it?
Yeah, that's it. Thanks very much, Brian. Sorry about that.
Okay.
Following on from Isaac's very comprehensive presentation, mine probably is quite simple. But I'm starting off with a photo of our area, and as you can see, it's an area of outstanding natural beauty, just to show what we're fighting to protect. So move on to me. Will I take on? I can move it on. Okay. So again, this is a map of Northern Ireland, and it shows the areas in blue are the areas that have been given out to mining companies for prospecting, and I think Isaac called them concessions, so I'm sure it's the same thing. And this company that we're fighting against has got 6 areas and for gold mining. And in fact, 25% of the north of Ireland has been given out to mining companies for prospecting. And when I'm mentioning the north, 28% of the Republic of Ireland has been given out in prospecting licenses to mining companies. We'll move on to the next one. Okay, so this Canadian company called Dalradian Gold, they submitted a planning application in 2017, and then they followed it up with a first addendum in 2019 and a second addendum in 2020. And in total, there were 40,000, I think over 40,000 pages, and was the biggest application ever in the history of Ireland, north or south. No, okay. So I'll move on to the ecological impacts. The main ones, as Connor, I think it was Connor O'Neill from Christian Aid mentioned in the film, he talked about pollution of air, soil and water. And that's exactly what we have learned about, that's the biggest impact of gold mining. And that's because thousands of tons of rock will be blasted. Dalradian are talking about an underground mine up to 1,000 meters deep, and they will take out tons of rock, and it will be crushed to a fine flour. And when it's exposed to air and water, it produces sulfuric acid, which is another name for acid mine drainage. That then strips out other metals like arsenic, mercury, lead, cadmium, chromium, etc. And they all will leach into our water table and into our rivers and streams, as well as being blown about in the air because they're going to be like dust. So Dalradian have applied to use explosives twice a day, every day of the year for up to 20 years. And explosives produce ammonium nitrate emissions, which will also affect our air and our water. And part of their application, they said they will be using 3.3 million litres of diesel on site every year for 20 years. And we know that diesel emissions contain nitrous oxide, hydrocarbons, particulate matter, and nitrogen oxides, which again will all poison the air and the water, and eventually the people. The whole northwest of Ireland is high in radon gas. People here, if they're building a house, they have to put a special barrier in the foundations in order to protect them from the radon gas. So a mine at up to 1,000 meters deep will release the radon gas, and that will contain, you know, carcinogenic contaminants and go into the air and obviously into lungs. Dalradian has also applied for 2 discharge consents to discharge a toxic cocktail of 24 metals, acids and fuels into our 2 rivers. And our 2 rivers, that's a picture of one of them there. That's the Owen Cailloux, the Owen Cailloux and the Owen Ray from the Irish. They are designated special areas of conservation and areas of special scientific interest because of the presence of freshwater pearl mussels. And freshwater pearl mussels are Ireland's only globally endangered species. There's also in these rivers, there's salmon spawning, and there's brown trout and otters. And they will be all obviously impacted if the discharges are allowed. The whole biodiversity of the area will be threatened with extinction. And again, we have special flora and fauna because we have a large area of raised bog. We have bats, insects, plants, birds. We have old sessile oak trees that again are supposed to be protected. And all the habitats associated with biodiversity, all that is at risk if this gold mine goes ahead. I'll move on now to the human impacts. Can you move? Don't know what's happening. Can we move to the human impacts? The next slide. Are you able to move it, Brian? So I don't know what's happened. Ours seems to be stuck. Can we not get it moved on? Can we move it to the human impacts? It's not gone.
Fidelma, let me share it from my side and then
Okay. Thank you.
I'll just stop your screen sharing.
Okay, thanks. No, shoot, again. Will we try to share again, Michelle? No.
I can share here. I have it ready.
Can you get it moved on? Here, we've got it now. Okay,
There.
sorry about that. We're not professional at this. The human impacts, and again, I think it was Olive Moore in the film from Frontline Defenders who mentioned about criminalisation and violence and threats to family and online toxic abuse. And these are the sort of things that we are already experiencing. And there's me outside the police station with the list of some of the things. But I suppose initially it's been the community divisions that have taken place because Dalradian have used money and offers of jobs to split people, including families. Members of families have fallen out with each other, and to those who are for the mine and those who are opposed to the mine. And then the health impacts, as you can imagine from a lot of the issues I mentioned in terms of the ecological impacts, the heavy metals and all that, the health of people will be affected, particularly, respiratory diseases and cancers. And we have learned from other, countries, because during the COVID, we had lots of links with communities in other countries where there's gold mining, and they have told us about how their physical health has been impacted. But I would say already there's been impacts on people's mental health here, because a lot of people tell us they're not sleeping, they're worrying about the future, they're worrying about their children. Will the school be kept? Will the children be able to live here in future? And that is a big, big worry for people. And as mentioned, the criminalization of protectors. And we know that's a strategy used by mining companies throughout the world. And that's where objectors to the mine, who we call protectors or defenders, face petty charges and the sort of things that our people have been up in court for: aggravated trespass, blocking a road, resisting arrest, harassing Dalradian employees. So the police respond immediately to petty allegations from Dalradian. Dalradian seem to have them on speed dial, and the police provide free security to mining companies in Northern Ireland, and the police ignore crimes against the protectors. Already 3 protectors, including my husband here, have received death threats. Several have been hit and knocked down by vehicles driven by employees or supporters of the mining company. Other protectors have been hit and assaulted by employees or supporters of the mining company. Others have received threatening phone calls and sex calls. Even my husband here, he got a threatening phone call. Normally it's sex calls he gets, but one was saying they will put our children in body bags. What else? Others like mostly females. Now, I suppose maybe men and women are more equal, maybe here, but a lot of females have complained about being followed by suspicious cars at night, and that has frightened them, and most of them are too afraid to report it. We try to encourage people to report to the police, even though the police do nothing about it. And there's ongoing cyberbullying of protectors. And I'm nearly there now. The second last slide. Can we move on to the next one? No, what's happened? Go on to the next one after that then. There. Okay, so I mean, we've over the last, I suppose, 7 years, we have used many strategies, but I'm only highlighting 4 here. And I think Brian has already mentioned the number of objections. We're still open for objections because no decision has been made, because there's going to be a public inquiry. But I haven't been able to access, because they're changing the planning portal, and I tried the other night to get in and I can't. They said the new portal wouldn't be ready until December, but we can still send in objections. So anyone anywhere in the world can submit an objection. So anyone who wants to can contact Save Our Sperrins and we will give them a sample. Okay, then on the bottom left, that's just an example of a protest at the local council office. And again, over the years, we've had lots of protests and pickets, and we try to be good humoured about it and have a bit of fun with chanting or singing and that, or dressing up. and then the top right, this none of the traditional political parties were speaking out against the proposed gold mining. So back in May 2019, the local community decided we would stand a candidate ourselves as an independent anti-gold mining candidate in the local council elections in May 2019. And surprisingly, he was the first elected in our area. And this was really a great success. And he has been very vocal within council, and he has improved transparency. And he's actually moved some of the traditional parties to come out a little more and speak against the mining. So that has been very successful move. And then the bottom right, that was back in March this year. We submitted a report on human rights violations arising from the proposed gold mine. We submitted it to the United Nations Universal Periodic Review of the United Kingdom. And it was endorsed by several academics and local grassroots groups and some national and international organizations. But it was the first time that we had documented the human rights abuses, and it has proven to be a very useful exercise. And we should thank John McGeady there, the Justice Officer with OLA, and Sister Magella down in Cork, who have really prodded us and pushed us and dragged us through the process. But having done that, it has led to meetings with the United Nations and the Council of Europe special rapporteurs for human rights and human rights defenders. So we're now reaching to high places. And the very last slide here, just 2 messages really, apart from giving our contact details. The top one is Ireland says no to mining, and that's us at our protest camp on the proposed site, and that has been operational since February 2018, 2 caravans on the site and manned by local people. And the final one is a saying by John F. Kennedy that we adopted as a motto for our campaign. And in fact, I thought tonight when I saw the film that it's very apt. It's one person can make a difference and everyone should try. And it ties in so well with make it your business. It is each and every one of our business to do something about it. And if we all try, we will move mountains. So thanks very much.
Thank you indeed, Fidelma. You came across loud and clear, I have to say.
Well, thank
And
you.
you came across loud and clear, and your message was very, very clear, even if there was a bit of a stutter every now and again in the PowerPoint presentation. But I think we got there in the end. And your message at the end there, where we can all actually make a difference, is very important. And your husband, who we can't see, who's out of shot, who's doing your hard work there on the side, we also commend him for his efforts and his preparation and his work. And we're also very sorry to hear about the difficulties that you've had. That's something that we heard about in the video, but you brought it so much home to us, how you're having such difficulties as ordinary people trying to register a protest in the face of what you see as something being actually wrong, and how there are difficult phone calls and threats. And you know, you've given us a whole new level of knowledge that we didn't realize was at home. Even the idea of prospecting and miners and concessions at home, which kind of is really what this webinar is about, kind of bringing the gifts as commodities, and you know, recognizing that there are differences between Ireland and Africa. So I have to thank you once again for both your input and for Isaac's input before you. You've added so much to what we saw in the video.